simple solution. Push on to the inn. Rest and resupply await you. You see, even your valley is not immune to the spreading stain. We would come here in summers of years gone to write, think, and rest. A helm of the Crusaders, their legions lost, their exploits legend. A sound investment in roads yet untraveled. The means of mastery. Planning and mindfulness, as vital to survival as sharpened steel. The first of many forks in the road. Choose your path and ride out unbowed. War rewards only resignation. Desperate. They need your help. Measure out your violence and apply it judiciously. A steady subtraction, an invariable result. Righteous action. Though unpleasant in the extreme, this work is noble and necessary. Think carefully. Today's oversight is tomorrow's regret. A simple choice. At least it should be. The enemy weakens and wanes. One less obstacle in our path. Chapter 5. In the Trenches. He resolved to spend his remaining years seeking atonement in the trenches of bloody battlefields the world over. For him, there could be no respite from the horrors of war, and when at last he was struck down, he would die alone and unremembered. Surely, he deserved no better. The loathing whispers. The loathing festers. Resigned to the end of things, they waited for death. And still they wait. A simple kindness. Collaboration confers advantage. another impediment, cleared with impunity. The loathing whispers. An elementary problem, is it not? Chapter 4. Failing grade. Success. Vindication. The human machine restored to action. The shrieking and wailing was horrible. But the silence that followed was even worse. For who knows what lurks in the beyond. Haste and carelessness, hallmarks of the unprepared. Let us take a closer look at the thing, as repulsive as it is. Subtraction, an invariable result. the loathing abates. On to the next. In crisis, we can rely only upon each other. Though unpleasant in the extreme, this work is noble and necessary. Cooperation is the key. Results are encouraging. Yourself. one less obstacle in our path. Hold fast, for who knows what lurks in the beyond. Straightforward and effective. The loathing whispers. The roaring heart does much for the weary body. Even more, perhaps, for the restless soul. Consider your position and plan accordingly. The roads are rife with peril. A little protection is always welcome. Conventional fare, but fairly priced. Experience, however painful, is the greatest teacher of all. Another nameless city. Another inferno of mutilation and madness. Your coach must be maintained if it is to carry you where you must go. cities of man, ruined and aflame. Myriad options require careful deliberation. Scavenge what you can, and be off once more. Agony by accumulation. Incremental, but deadly all the same. The slow suffering begins. This road cannot be walked alone. Collaboration confers advantage. Cooperation is the key. Cut down these nightmares and blaze the trail to your redemption. A refreshing commune unburdens the mind. us hope to finish this quickly. Collaboration confers advantage. A steady subtraction, an invariable result. Straightforward and effective. The loathing whispers. We venture blindly forth, at the mercy of the road and its myriad dangers. And flame, as far as the eye can see. Library burns, and with it the remains of philosophy, reason, and insight. Cooperation is the key. A master stroke. Brilliant conclusion. Empowered, emboldened. Malaise, measured and steady. steady subtraction, an invariable result. The conflagration must be stopped. The librarian must be destroyed. The enemy weakens and wanes. Empowered, emboldened. Brilliant conclusion. A miscalculation, perhaps. In this weighty gloom, a spark. The loathing abates. The loathing whispers. Lethality writ large. A slow dissection, an unavoidable end. The smallest variable can make all the difference. The slow suffering begins. Extinguished at last. Though unpleasant in the extreme, this work is noble and necessary. Pillaging brigands, enriching themselves as the world collapses. Agony by accumulation. A steady subtraction, an invariable result. A simple variable, easily resolved. Your path lies through them, and so they must fall. The fiend's strength dwindles. Cooperation is the key. Master stroke. The work continues. One less obstacle in our path. Mind your wheels. They have nothing left to give. Malaise, measured and steady. The fiend's strength dwindles. Excellent work. Incremental, but deadly all the same. This road cannot be walked alone. The loathing abates. What is it, then, that gazes back so intently from the abyss? A master stroke. Respite within reach. Rest now for a time. Consider your position and plan accordingly. The farms and fields of our kingdom overrun with putrescence and rot. Experience, however painful, is the greatest teacher of all. Conventional fare, but fairly priced. rancid crop grows unchecked and abhorrent. Perhaps I left this for you. Perhaps you left it for yourself. Perhaps it is not here at all. Think carefully. Today's oversight is tomorrow's regret. A promising development. A breakthrough. Haste and carelessness, hallmarks of the unprepared. The enemy weakens and wanes. mistimed, misdirected. Cooperation is the key. Empowered, emboldened. Relief comes rarely in these times. Savor it. Sweat-soaked brows, unsteady stances. Exhaustion takes hold. Though unpleasant in the extreme, this work is noble and necessary. The loathing festers. The destination's never in question. Only the route you take to get there. Unexpected find. is no time to falter. Slow dissection, an unavoidable end. Empowered, emboldened. Messy, but effective. Cooperation is the key. A righteous action. A simple kindness. A master stroke. Cut down these nightmares and blaze the trail to your redemption. Look upon their noble struggle and be humbled by it. In this world, wealth is worthless without purpose. plating is spent. We are exposed. Voracious and decadent, the landowners and peasants alike descended into an orgy of consumption. They seek to strike while we are vulnerable. Hold them off. Stupendous. This is no time to falter. The enemy weakens and wanes. Steady yourself. Deliberate and methodical appliance of harm. Well done. Calculated generosity, but a welcome one nonetheless. Trammeled, trapped, held captive by fear. Another impediment, cleared with impunity. Collaboration confers advantage. Cooperation is the key. The timbers creak, the wheels groan, but we press on nonetheless. Excellent work. Analysis is the natural prelude to action. Hold fast, for who knows what lurks in the beyond. Welcome relief from caustic agony. Greater threats await those who dare. Chapter 5. The After Party. Armed officials dispatched to oversee the eviction were shocked to find the front doors listlessly ajar. The lavish carpets were lousy with dirt and leaves. A heap of heirlooms gleamed on the ballroom floor, rings and brooches in a careless pile. The lady of the manor, however, was nowhere to be found. The tangled trails whisper of torment. In this world, wealth is worthless without purpose. Loathing made manifest. Collaboration confers advantage. Lethality writ large. Hold fast, for who knows what lurks in the beyond. Well done. This road cannot be walked alone. An inkling of potency still lingers in some of these well-worn relics. This is a little worse for wear, but familiar nonetheless. All roads lead to the mountain, but only one leads beyond it. The roads are rife with peril. A little protection is always welcome. one learns quickly when survival demands it. Conventional fare, but fairly priced. A sound investment in roads yet untraveled. A bit of comfort on the road to damnation. The next stop is leagues away. Plan accordingly.
At last, the great ziggurat, temple of failure and regret.
Here, at the nexus of ruin, loathing poured forth from the darkest recesses of your mind. Your failures took form, and the world bowed in honor of your great wretchedness. The stain of your bankruptcy frayed the very fabric of our dimension. But you were afraid to face what you had wrought and fled down the long road of your memories, hiding yourself away. Cooperation is the key. Measure out your violence and apply it judiciously. The fiend's strength dwindles. Deliberate and methodical appliance of harm. remember our first meeting on the steps of the university. You were golden, lit from within by the glow of potential. Finally, my friend, I would see that potential realized. It is time to reclaim the world from your weakness. Meet your derelictions with blazing defiance. The equation must be balanced. Now, upon your great achievement, the sum total of your failings, your body of work. The carious gut of the coward, ripe with toxic pusillanimity. Measure out your violence and apply it judiciously. The enemy weakens and wanes. Agony by accumulation. Suffering begins. Cooperation is the key. Measured and steady. Awash in turmoil. Its infernal gaze pierces the veil of reality. A calculated generosity, but a welcome one nonetheless. strength dwindles. Darkness encroaches, inexorable. Collaboration confers advantage. A little help impeccably timed. Self-reliance is a rare and wonderful thing. Is no time to falter. Calculated generosity, but a welcome one nonetheless. There remains a foothold out of this mire. Now climb. The fiend's strength dwindles. cooperation. What can we learn upon closer inspection? Measured and steady. Cooperation is the key. Observe the subject carefully, and you will discover its weaknesses. cooperation confers advantage. Cooperation is the key. Crisis, we can rely only upon each other. Spiritual torment has no place in the compassionate mind. It must be purged. Measure out your violence, then apply it judiciously. Salvation is at hand. Unmake this illusion. In crisis, we can rely only upon each other. Cooperation is the key. Collaboration confers advantage. Well done. The slow suffering begins. Hold fast, for who knows what lurks in the beyond. All heroes are human. To destroy the thing is to destroy yourself. But the world will spring anew from the memory you kept of it. Your confession is complete. The cosmic axes are aligned once more. Forgive yourself. Humanity is a weak hypothesis, after all. An unbalanced equation, an imperfect angle. We sow the seeds of our ruin and seek to deny its reckoning. We make mountains of our mistakes, monsters of our misdeeds. We slip and stumble, we fail and we falter. And yet, in each of us, a hopeful light, holding fast against the hellish shadows that gather between our good intentions. And in each of us, a limitless emptiness. Of a darkest dungeon. At last, the veil begins to lift. Remain here if you wish. There is always more that can be learned. Memory is the hearth that warms the mind. Bask for a moment in the light of distant days. A fleeting impression of flickering light. When all is lost, we cling to what we can remember. Study the winding roads and
guarded. I was just grinding this out and it happened, so I wanted to at least talk. Finally,
The more they have to hold on to,
unfortunately,
the
because
harder they will fight.
one candle too little, I didn't get the last memory on Barristan yet. But honestly, all of these memories really mean jackal. None of them mean really anything. The most important thing is just favorite. The moment you can get this on, well, for this challenge, obviously, you have to go with the unusual suspects. The moment you get favorite toy on your Plague Doctor, this run starts activating. This run becomes immensely insane. Unfortunately, we didn't get it this time around. It would have been more helpful. But this run becomes insane once you get particular items. Well, first of all, you've got the spiked skull cap on your grave robber, because you're probably using Deadeye. That's already pretty nuts. That's good on its own. I like the complete catalog version of the trophy. This is actually not bad. For this fight being so long and us having such high speed was the main reason I kept using this. And that gave us so much. We had 50% extra damage on Grave Robber, which was amazing. We had 40% extra damage on Highwayman. I guess they must have been sharing speed rolls, I think, the weekdays or what have you. But we were always faster than the enemy. So this actually was quite good. This I don't think existed in previous workings of the game. And I used to play about a year ago. But that was amazing. That was really, really good. But that's not what I was thinking about. What I was thinking about that really made this run crazy, as well as having some of the flames giving us health and causing damage, that was also really nice. And making the wounding words actually quite good on Grave Robber, because we had a way to protect her thanks to the candle or with pancakes from the because we had no food item. So this was our best food item. It was either the flapjacks or straight into slime ball. It gives 10% extension. I thought I did 5% extension. They changed them. Okay, well that's good. This is still better just because it gives you more resistances and it's just more HP anyway. But like that's the only food we have access to. We don't have any other food, so it's either this or nothing. So that's what it is. I'm just gonna turn the music down because I'm just gonna be talking. Okay, right. Again, Orphan Pet Wolf, just because our candles restrictions, and also really it does what it needs to do, increasing positive relationship chance. This run becomes way easier with relationships. At the very least, not having negative relationships. Early on, negative relationships aren't really a big deal because early on we don't have, well, I can't really show you here. Early on, we don't have things unlocked. And so things that can be locked down, like for example with Barristan, we don't actually lock it. Like we unlock Bellow, is his only move we unlock early, and then to get to Retribution. So from here, ignoring then these four down here, because we don't need these at all. And so I only unlock them for the sake of going to Hero Shrines for, what's it called? Just to get Mastery points. That was the main reason I left Hero Shrines in Act 4, not to finish them off, to leave them in Act 5 for more Mastery. It's always good to have extra Mastery points. It can really activate your moves. But we'll talk about that. But yeah, negative relationships, not a big deal with someone like Barristan, because if we get... Ignoring the fact that they have negative qualities to them that can cause issues, mainly the stress negative relationships, they are really bad. The ones that give taunt are not so great either, but negative relationships are negative stress, is really, really bad. If you're using a move, if it's like on a move like hold the line, bolster, or defender, we use that all the time. That creates a lot of issues. But at least the locking down aspect of a negative relationship, not a big deal on a character like Varys, Man-at-Arms. Someone like our Grave Robber, who has a bunch of moves that are just, well, not useless, but as in just not what we use. Because we're using Deadeye all the time, Flashing Daggers becomes an amazing, high crit backlining dealing option. From something that deals with rank 2 and 3 on Wanderer on other parts, it then hits 3 and 4 and becomes amazing. So good that it just replaces Thrown Dagger. Thrown Daggers may as well be worthless in the face of Flashing Dagger. So if your Thrown Dagger is locked, well, you kind of have to get rid of Flashing Daggers. If you get Glint to the Dark, sure, that's fine. Maybe get rid of Pick in the Face, but that ignoring shield is really, that has bailed us out so many times. It's a main reason I keep Pick to the Face, and even though Glint in the Dark is, strictly speaking, a better move, it does more consistent damage. Not so important when you're critting all the time, and with Pick to the Face having such a high crit rate, I don't care. Again, it can hit rank 3. That would be the main reason I'd be picking Glint to the Dark. But if I want to hit rank 3, I'm going to be using Flashing Dagger. So for my build, I would rather have the tech utility of Pick to the Face. The applying crit removing shield, it's not really important. It's more just about the ignoring shield, so you can keep dealing and dishing damage to characters that keep shielding up. Mainly you're thinking about your cultist fights with the, you would think I would know the name, the guy who attacks ranks 1 and 2, with the weird knives on his hands, and he bleeds everything. Whatever that thing is, they get lots of armor. What's it called? Not armor. What's it called? What's the token glossary? I thought you can... block. Bloody hell, I can't even remember the damn names. Block. Ton of block. Like, that's fine. You can just keep hacking away with damage with Pick to the Face, assuming you're done dealing with the back rank and you're not lunging for any reason. You're just speaking to the face. Surprisingly, Dead of the Night unupgraded, because no point upgrading. By the time you're doing that, you're already kind of done with this move. Actually quite good. Gives her stealth, which is great on such a squishy character normally. This is actually quite good for her health. But when giving her the trinkets, she was at 20 health. So, actually quite good to give her longevity. And during the fights up until lair bosses and, cosmic fights, this is actually quite good. Honestly, you could make an argument, if you have like a shit ton of mastery points, this will be the last thing you master. But if you, for some reason, just have a lot, sometimes it can happen. I think it's happened in previous runs in this, fresh save Grand Slam attempt. This is like nuts. This has great utility, but honestly speaking, it really doesn't matter. Just to heal, get rid of corpses, and do something positive, this is a great move. Really thinking about it, probably should have locked in Evasive. Evasive has been very, very good in helping Grave Robber avoid damage for a very long time. I think Evasive really did excellently in our run. We got this quirk very early, and just by pure luck, it never got rotated out because I didn't want to lock it in. It wasn't that good to lock in. I was hoping to get Deadly again, because obviously Deadly on plus 15% critical rate chance on Grave Robber is pretty nice when you can get base 30% crit rate on moves, base 20, base 30. And so add an extra 15, now you're at 45% base crit rate. That was the Attempt 11 run. That was the whole shtick with Attempt 11, where we could give her the wounding words to give her plus 50% damage from the cultist trinket, use up her last trinket slot, it doesn't matter, and give her something that, cool, she's critting plus 15% on 30, so you get 45% with her memory, or plus 3%, I got that early on, yeah, plus 3% crit, you have 48% chance to crit. With Pick to the Face, if you get that plus 50%, you have like a 98% chance to crit, assuming the conditions are fulfilled. So I don't care if the damage is not as consistent as Glint in the Dark, not only does it have tech utility over Glint in the Dark, and I don't even care about rank 3 because I have flashing daggers to use, and this whole thing with stealth doesn't matter. Stealth is not that bad in this game that you really need any of this nonsense. And the execution, fantastic, but not particularly useful. There are just other ways you can just keep beating the enemy and deal with the execution. If you really need to, you have Dismiss's Wicked Slice. If you really need to get through execution, the Death Blow tokens doesn't really fucking matter. But after all of that, the crit rate, the critical chance is just 1.5 times the top damages the move can do. So 9 damage is a top here, so 1.5 times would be about, I think 4.5. So that rounds to 5. So I think that would do 14. I believe that would round up to 14, which is the same as Pick to the Face. So there's just no reason, at least in this build, to use Glint in the Dark in any situation over Pick to the Face. You could make an argument if your Grave Roll was up front, like rank 1 and 2, and you need to attack the 3rd or 4th rank. Well, you can't. You can't with Glint in the Dark anyway. But if you need to attack the 3rd rank for some reason, and you're in ranks 1 to 2, then you could make an argument for it. Think of your dance comps, think of weaknesses in the 3rd rank. But this whole comp, with Dismiss's ability to use Duelist Advance, which now after realizing, switching to Rogue, a path I would never use ever, because it always got rid of Take Aim from turning it, from giving you crit tokens to riposte. I don't know what happened, but I think it was during attempt 11. I saw the light, and realized that just having block tokens and being able to use the riposte, because anytime I would activate riposte, I would always be defending Dismiss previously to protect him from being blinded, so his crit tokens land. Just spamming this move permanently, any damage coming to Dismiss is always halved. Always halved. And because his health pool is actually decent, and with some extra trinkets, he can actually become quite healthy. He's like a mini tank, honestly speaking. And so a mini tank that has good damaging riposte, because normally Man-at-Arms, generally I'm giving him the Cultist Trinket that gives him a lot of health, but severely dampens damage. I'm okay with that. That's fine, because I'm already... I'm already not using much damage with Sergeant. Sergeant is great. Bolsters, fantastic. The move resist is mainly good. I was keeping that in case, mainly if we needed the clutch with beating the Shroud, the Leviathan boss, so we can cheese it using his insane move resist to avoid the Undertow move. But the move resist has been great. He's got Hold the Line, so honestly, him being moved out of place is not a problem. It's more about other characters needing to be in certain places to use their moves. Again, rank 2 and 3 is what I'm mainly thinking of, where, if Dismiss gets shifted out of rank 2 to 3 to 1, then he can't use Duelist Advance, he can't attack the 3rd and 4th rank, he can only deal with the 1st and 2nd rank, which has been always generally useless until figuring out that actually Double Cross upgraded is quite good. Because I always thought that, Double Cross is kind of worthless. Because if I'm doing damage and giving him a weakness token, one weakness token needs to then land, and I'm stuck in DD1 logic where I just think all the debuff resistances are too insane. But this game, the debuff resistances on enemies are actually not that bad. So much so that even on the final Act 5 Body of Work bosses, this was actually landing maybe half the time, which I think is about right because their debuffs were about 50%. So, which is actually not bad, because if it lands, and also it's giving himself a block token, and that was good in phase 2 of Body of Work anyway, because I didn't want to load him up with too many positive tokens. The wiki was saying that if you've got 4 positive tokens, it will start covertously gazing you and stealing your tokens. So I actually didn't realize it, but I, in a way, should have left my Duelist Advance unupgraded, but honestly, Duelist Advance being upgraded is kind of necessary in one of the early Mastery unlocks I do for this particular character in these runs from Acts 2 to 5. Act 1 doesn't count because we don't have shit unlocked at that point. We don't even have paths unlocked at that point. But this is just too good to pass up. 2 block tokens, 3 riposte. It's too beautiful to not upgrade. So using double cross and giving myself ways to continuously halving damage is nice. Having everyone be slightly bulkier is nice, and he can just do it on his own. Give the enemy vulnerable tokens, which are the same as having strength tokens on our guys, and then Grave Robber can just come in and smash the enemy with lunge and do so much more damage, which has just been fantastic synergy. Really worked out excellently well. I will say that your mind is what limits you in terms of what you can do in this game, because holy moly, have I gone through nearly all of these moves in some way or form and done many things. I used to, a long time ago, I would switch out, I think I switched out Duelist Advance, because at some point I didn't like dance teams. Really, I still dislike dance teams, but I think dance teams are really, really good, actually. I'm coming around to dance teams, and having a Jester engine to keep putting on combo tokens and then actually being able to stun. Never stunned in this game, like, consistently before. Never. But I could actually do it in this team, with Hold the Line was being constantly used if we're not healing with the upgraded Crush. That's really not what we're doing often, but it is a very nice option. With this upgraded, when you have like 70 health, you're healing like 16, like when 70 to 80 health, you're healing with 80 health, 20%, 8 by 8, 16. You're healing 16 health. That is such an amazing clutch to have for healing. But if you're not using that, you can just stun the enemy. Now, granted, when it kind of counts, you can't stun a lot of enemies, but you know what? You can stun some enemies. And you know what? I will absolutely take that, because I wasn't doing it before. So it was really nice. And this move is just so good. You get shuffled to anywhere in the universe, you can go forward, you can lock yourself down, and I actually quite like that. Well, he's got the move resist. I don't care about the enemy shuffling him. I'm more concerned about I can lunge and go into position 2 instead of position 1. I can duelist advance and stay in position 2 where I want to be able to use double cross, to be able to use highway robbery, to be able to hit rank 3 and 4, to be able to hit rank 1 and 2 with a high damaging move if I'm not using double cross or duelist advance, because maybe Man-at-Arms is not locked down anymore. I've got enough tokens, and then I just want to deal damage to the front ranks, or I want to deal with the back ranks, or I want to set up for Grave Robber to do something, or an enemy has a dangerous crit token, I need to remove that or steal it. Again, I never really upgraded highway robbery often, because usually stealing tokens can be detrimental in certain situations. So think of Focus Fault, Act 3 boss. That was a bit of a shit show in this attempt, honestly. That very easily had multiple DD checks and could have absolutely ended this run very early. I was actually pretty sure that the moment I had gotten 3 scene tokens on on Highwayman and on Man-at-Arms, I was confident that was the end of the run, because we had also gotten a scene token on Plague Doctor. Probably should have left that scene token on Plague Doctor and focused on getting rid of one of them on the Highwayman, because just the 3 scene tokens allows Focus Assault to crit 100% of the time. That's really bad, because Limerence does 60 damage. And 60 damage when you have 75% blocking with his Defender on Man-at-Arms makes it kind of bearable, still extremely painful. Not enough with 50% tokens. It's just not enough. 30 damage on 30 or 40 health, it is just too much damage. He's got no ways to self-heal. And then Focus Fault, if he crits, he steals positive tokens. And so I have no idea how that alone didn't kill me, because I love generating tokens. I'm not sure how that didn't kill me, but again, because he steals tokens, I'd rather just remove the tokens he has rather than stealing them. Otherwise, I'll just be stealing back and forth. I'm going to 1 cooldown, so I'll always be behind, and I don't want to be tying up my highwaymen might dismiss doing that sort of nonsense, especially because it's only 2 tokens. So what's the point? The negative crit chance, cool, but I'm not really there for. I'm just there to get rid of tokens. So that was honestly probably the weakest move out of all his moves. But it is nice to be able to get rid of tokens that may be problematic. If the enemy has too many dodge tokens, cool. Instead of trying to just hit them, if they've got 1 dodge tokens, you don't bother with highway robbery, you just try to hit them. And if they miss, so fucking what, I get more tokens on myself, or I just burn 1 dodge token. If they've got like crit tokens, that's where this really shines, because you really don't want the enemy critting you at all, like never, because of stress and the huge amounts of damage. If the enemy has multiple dodge tokens, this is a good time to use higher robbery. No one's using tracking shot. I've really tried to make this work on like the librarian fight, where I think that's really, really good. I've really tried. I don't see when or where to use tracking shot in this composition. Maybe in other comps, you could make an argument for combo tokens and getting rid of dodge. Maybe. I don't really see it. But maybe in another comp it will have utility. This is a great comp where open vein is worthless, and so I've never used this move actually before. I'm sure if you're playing with Hellion or Jester, stacking bleeds or an offensive surgeon, plague doctor. Oh shit. Then you could probably make an argument for open vein, but honestly, who cares? Just go for damage. 4 to 6, and then having a dot that could be 3 or 6 is better than Wicked Slice, but so what? You have to pierce through them. So now you've got to waste valuable trinket rooms to get bleed piercing, so you'll need to go to the Shroud to get bleed items. I basically never go to the Shroud, because in my comps, bleed items, weird stunning stuff, it just doesn't matter. Fisherman's line, fisherman's net, the gloves, all of it's pretty much worthless. I think they have some bleed resist items, which you could make an argument to go in Act 4 with Ravenous Reach, but nah. Honestly, nah. This comp doesn't need to go to Shroud. There's no items to really get from Shroud. There's just no point. And then doing the Shroud boss with this comp, obviously you can do it, but I'm definitely not so comfortable with that. So for this fresh save Grand Slam, I was just thinking I will only use the Librarian, will be my main person, or the Tangle against the Sleeping General. That would be my only time to go for trophies. Though I was always putting the pressure less on doing that because of the DLC Crusader trophy. I was always keeping that as a backup. But I thought, after doing Attempt 11, I felt sour having to not go to lairs and just using that like kind of a cheesy way of doing it. So I thought, fuck it. If I can, I will try my best to beat a lair doing it the proper way. And I did do that. So this, other than Act 3 being very sketchy, extremely sketchy, this run was perfect. Didn't need to use the DLC Cheese trophy, which was always the ace in the hole. Didn't need to use that. Always was beating a lair boss. Generally in Region 3, but in Act 5 in Region 2, that was a bit of a gamble. I was very hesitant to doing it, and I thought that might kill the run, but I thought, it is definitely possible. I have been melting the Librarian faster than I ever have before, so I don't know. I don't know if they changed the game, or if I've just gotten much better at the game than I have in the last several months or last year when I was playing it, but like everything, just I can understand what's happening. I think I have gotten a nice understanding of the game with these 4 characters at the very least. This Unusual Suspect squad has really... I've always liked this team. It has always been... And honestly, it has excellent characters. Grave Robber, once she has shit unlocked in her parts, becomes really good. I've always disliked Grave Robber because early on she's just got nothing. Wanderer Path, Flashing Daggers, hitting rank 2 and 3 is worthless. It's just actually worthless, and the damage output it does is less than worthless. Thrown Dagger was the main move. Tech utility pick. Self-healing ability was nice. I did like that a lot. And Dot. The previous person on Reddit he was saying, yeah, you got to go Venom Drop, you got to go massive on the dots. While I definitely see his point, honestly, it denies her ability to do amazing things. Because Plague Doctor, when you get her, the one thing he did have, he had a really good idea. His idea was to go to the feeder to get blight piercing, so you can always land your dots. I thought that was an excellent idea, and I thought, let's just do that, because yes, having more blight piercing, 33% blight piercing, not too bad, not the best. Honestly, it is pretty good, but you kind of need more. I didn't even realize blight causing skills has 10% more crit. Oh, that's so good. Oh, no wonder. Well, that's so good. Everything had like so much more. I was wondering why we were critting so much. Okay, that makes sense. Honestly, you need more. Because you need to be able to blight bosses that don't like to be blighted. Or just in general, having more just makes sure it guarantees the blight. You really want to guarantee it because having 6 damage, and then obviously with favorite toys a +1. So 7 damage over 3 turns, and if it crits over 5 turns, but 7 damage over 3 turns, so 21 damage in 1 move. You kind of want that to land. It's not rocket science that you should be paying a lot of attention to that, given you put so much effort into putting in high damage dealing characters to make sure they do damage. Highwayman in this comp gets away with damage because he can do whatever, he can miss, he's got his riposte, he can continue protecting himself, and he's got tech utility to set up for our true damage dealer, Grave Robber. Grave Robber is our true damage dealer of this comp, and we put in a lot of effort to make sure she can do that. So why not have effort in a one single move that gets through all the time? So the argument obviously becomes, to do that, you need blight piercing. And so you get the blight piercing tool that you get in the feeder. And the main way to get that is, unfortunately, through beating the feeder boss. Now, you don't want to do that because beating that boss is difficult and dangerous. This comp, because debuff resistance is not the main focus, it dances forward and not backwards. And so because it dances forward, and the debuff against that child thing, the feeder lair boss, whatever that thing is, always pushes you forward. And that's really, really bad because then you have to think about wasting time with beating the corpse, the forward ranking corpse that debuffs the ranks 1 and 2, and then you're losing focus on defeating the child boss. And I don't know, that mess is just dangerous. It's maybe if you're in Region 3, you've got most of your people unlocked, like it's Act 3 or Act 4. You have everything unlocked in your character. Your comp is very stacked. You have some very good trinkets. Go ahead, do it. But all you need from the feeder is you need to just go to academic caches. So what was the star of our things? So okay, this is one thing here. The Corrupting Cleaver. So amazing that we get this unlocked without any effort. As in, we didn't unlock any trinkets. We didn't have to dilute the trinket pool. We just have this. The disease, the negative, irrelevant. Probably the negative is so irrelevant because having blight piercing, that's the only thing this does. In terms of a trinket, it doesn't actually really do shit. But having 25% piercing, on top of 33% piercing, you get a whopping 58% piercing. Now, most things that don't let you pierce in the feeder are like 67, 70%. So from 67, 58, you get down to essentially I think maybe 65. So it should be about 7%, because the main thing I remember is 7% is most of the feeder enemies would have once I would have the cleaver on. 7%, not bad. Honestly, that's pretty damn good against those things that really don't want you to be doing it. Against the body of work phase 1, we were still up against 20 to 30% resistance. That's fine. Honestly, that's okay because it got through most of the time, which is enough for that boss. But the main reason this becomes really, really good is because you get indelible trinket. Now, as you're unlocking surgeon and alchemist, you have to unlock this. Thank God this is one of the hero trinkets that are really, really good, because we had to unlock the foreclosure notice on Grave Robber. Complete garbage. For her, you could probably make arguments to Shadow Fade, upgrade Shadow Fade, and give her strength token, and then on top of this, then giving her so much damage. You could make an argument, but the no healing, it's a bit situational. Most of the time with Grave Robber, I'm not doing setup, I'm just attacking. I'm lunging. If I'm not back in position for some reason to lunge again, I'm picking to the face. And whenever I get back, I'm flashing daggers or I'm lunging again. I'm really not wanting to waste time setting up to do things. Again, not a bad thing. Once Shadow Fade is upgraded, setting up with a strength token, having this is not terrible. Don't get me wrong, but it's not really my playstyle. So for me, it's worthless. Rat Skull was good. Could use it every now and then, but again, could do without it diluting my pool, because again, there were times where I didn't get this in Act 5. Really tried to get this in Act 5. Really tried, but I was just 2 baubles short from spending. I knew when I was going to that horde, I had 63 baubles and I wasn't able to get them by it. And that was a bit of shame, because that would have really completed the run, and maybe it may have made Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Body of Work easier in that last fight in Act 5. It could have made them easier, because they were, Phase 1 and Phase 2, it was a bit tricky. Phase 2, we didn't have any DD checks, but we were down on 0. And that was a bit terrifying. I really, if the enemy, if the Phase 2 boss in Body of Work targeted things differently, could have ended up a bit messily. And this could have saved me in terms of just killing the enemy faster. I don't think so in that particular case, but regardless, it would have been still a welcome addition. But having that extra 2 blight dealing, having piercing, now remember, you're also with a character that has favorite toy. So we have +2 thanks to the trinkets, +1 from this, so we have +3, and then upgraded, you get 6. So you have something that deals 9 damage over 3 turns. 9, 18, 36. Wait, is that right? What? No, 9 and 27. Bloody hell. 27 damage in 1 hit. That does, again, over 3 turns, but when you're fighting these bosses, you'll be there for a while. So you don't really have time to, use Cause of Death anyways. So it's not a move I would ever really use. I really tried to make Cause of Death work, but her being, instead of wasting that time, if you have multiple people doing dots, yeah, sure, you could probably make an argument to use Cause of Death, but not in this comp. In this comp, you have just Plague Doctor doing things. If Plague Doctor why would you waste time dealing all that damage? Again, to end a fight, I get that, but instead, you can just deal another 27. Cool. That's easier, and most of the time, that's what you're doing. She's in rank 4 generally because of the nature of how we're dancing, and so I just don't get an opportunity to use Cause of Death in this comp. And so I remember in one of the previous unsuccessful attempts, I definitely tried using Cause of Death, but there was just no room for it. And so that's done. So now you have something that does 9 damage, and if it crits, you've got something that does 9 by 5, that does 45 damage. And in the back ranks, again, 4 plus favorite toy is 5, plus that trinket becomes 7. You can now deal 7 to each back rank. So, which is just insane. You can deal 21 damage to 2 enemies in 1 move. So yeah, you kind of want that to land. So honestly, her trinkets were always, throughout this run, was always, as much as I could help it, the early experiment with the corrupting cleaver. It was just insane. It made this run immaculate. It was just, what can I say? It was truly amazing. This run took off after Act 1 because we had access to favorite toy immediately, thank God. And then obviously we had access to this as we unlocked the hero pathway. So we finally got this. Whenever I didn't have this, the annotated textbook, of course, was a very welcome addition. Alright, having medicinal herbs, okay, you lose that trinket slot, that's a bit annoying. Medicinal herbs isn't useless, so that's nice. And having that plus 50% healing, don't get me wrong, that is very, very good. Combined with, I think, I'm not sure if I did that in these attempts, combined with, plus 20 from the Protectorate, you have plus 70% healing. Plus then having everyone else having that band that lets you heal more. This thing, the Bouncer's Belt. Having everyone, having that in theory makes then people just heal like crazy. And so that's insane. But of course, always, I just couldn't justify not using the early experiment. The healing is really nice, and I've tried to experiment with it to see is that healing better than having more damage. The answer was the healing you already have is pretty good with the Plague Doctor, so just use this. Indiscriminate Science, when you generate so many tokens with Man-at-Arms and with Duelist Advance with the Highwayman. And Grave Robber can self-heal, so she can just do her own thing. And then, of course, Man-at-Arms can give people 3 positive tokens with upgraded Defender, the Defend Me token. That's plus 30% on Indiscriminate Science already. So, healing-wise, you're good. You have ways to heal very consistently and very, very big heals. So, you didn't really need this. It was nice, but not as nice as this. And so, trinket-wise, that became nice. In terms of other trinkets that was good, there are some nice cultist trinkets. Again, Greater, the Haldrat was always nice. Whiskey Flask, always great in terms of an in-item. Sharpness Charm, fantastic for extra damage early on when there's nothing else. Price of Pride, when you've got nothing else, this is a pretty damn good trinket to have. Man-at-Arms is going to be taunting himself. You have more reasons to use Retribution because there's a good chance if you get hit, it might generate you a block plus token, which is just great because he's going to be being hit a lot. And so, it just works well. The other stuff doesn't matter. You're never going to be first with Man-at-Arms. Never. He's too slow for it. There was an instance where that did happen in this attempt, and I was confused why I was being blinded every turn. He was first in turn order, which is just insane. But that's never an issue. The Bellow stun is irrelevant. You're just there for the gain for hit. No one's using Bellow other than tech utility or to get rid of dodge tokens on mass. Alright, I don't care about Bellow otherwise. Getting rid of Riposte, dangerous Riposte on Act 4 Ravenous Reach Phase 3. That's a very dangerous Riposte that gives you a 6-dot bleed, which can then catabolize and cause you a ton of damage with last grasp. So you're only using it in tech utility. Get rid of crit tokens, get rid of Riposte, that's it. That's fine. Other things that were good. What else was really good? We got very lucky. So in this particular run, in the working fields, our only combat item unlocked was the Healing Salve. That was very good. Unfortunately, the Healing Salve didn't appear very well in the Act 5 boss. Our combat items were a smorgasbord of just basically shit. We had no combat items. Would have actually done well if we had a Laudanum instead. We had nothing, which was a shame, but in the other acts, we had lots of healing stars, so we always had good healing, and it was always available, thanks to our artificial trinket combat item dilution. We got very lucky unlocking this immediately, and as well not having to spend any more candles. 1 candle for this, amazing, and no other further dilution, because there are, in the first tier of combat items, so combat items in the working fields, they upgrade. And so after you unlock a bunch of them, this will become more expensive because the first pool of combat items will be there. So if there's super cool combat items you want, sorry bud, they'll be unlocked only very later on. So Healing Salve, out of all the things, is in the bloody first one. First pool. And so having that, the main idea was to keep pumping in candles until we unlocked Healing Salve and then to stop dilution of further combat items and such. We didn't have to do that in this run. We just got it so early. in attempt 11, we got it relatively early as well. And so, that was amazing. Stagecoach items, because there's nothing else I want to unlock, and with that many candles at the start, you could make an argument that you don't need to unlock any stagecoach items and just dump them all into memories. If I had done that, if I'd done that here, I may have been able to make sure we got all the memories appropriately. That was a bad error on my end, so we would have been able to do that anyway. But my point still stands. You don't need this. In items, there are enough good in items. The main one, all you want is affinity. Alright, my in items, food is nice, affinity. Some of the early ones is speed poultices, which is nice, but you don't really need speed. Maybe against focus fault, but the main thing is I didn't want to dilute things because I wanted to maximize the chances of getting playing cards. This was the best in item we could have, the base playing cards. Again, it's not the best, but 75% for affinity, it rolls it for the entire party. So this one item does how many relationships? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6. My math is off. Hang on. I should know this. Wait. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 relationships. It procs 6 times. So you're gonna get negatives, but you're gonna get, on average, more positives than negatives. All right, this is I'm playing cards. I have to think of blackjack. There is no negative house. There's no house edge. All right, you've got affinity, positive affinity edge. So this is a no-brainer to always pick up and always use. And anything that affinity doesn't line up with you very well, you've got the whiskey flasks to use. You've got the other one, which is nice, but reduces speed. The pipe weed. You have options to modify where you need to, and so that's fantastic. So your base in items are good because that's all you need. The food is shit. Okay, don't get me wrong. It would be nice to have more food. That's better. The only real thing is if you get lucky, you can maybe get the flapjacks. You can maybe get the griddle. And if you get the griddle, then you can get the chance of having flapjacks. And which is really nice because then you solve your issue with food, don't need to spend anything on getting slime mold, and you're good to go. So yeah, that was insane. That was really good. The other trinkets were like amazing. Again, this is like immediate. I think I used this once, unironically. I think I actually did use this once just to use it, but immediately throw away. It's useless. I just like the art of the Physician's Guild seal. It just looks nice. The effect is also pretty good. The plus healing given is nice, and the mastery. But like the art, look at that. Looks so good. I love the art. Very nice. The Academics map. This was also a very, very good scouting view. I can't remember. I have to look through the VOD. I actually can't remember if that was one is the Tangle book, and the second one, oh no, it's some bullshit. So no, the Academic Scouting, because what we unlocked was the bullshit. I remember being visibly disappointed that diluting my pool with nonsense. So one is the book. The book is fine. It is nice if to have more damage in the Tangle. It's not a bad thing. Most of the time it's useless, but it can be useful, so I just keep it around. This is the other one we unlocked, which is just completely worthless. I don't care about concoctions. I don't care about powders. I don't even know what concoctions and powders are, actually. And I'm pretty confident. Yeah, that's fine. Pretty confident that this early in the game, with nothing else unlocked, this is useless. So maybe later on it becomes better, but I don't give a shit. And so it did dilute in my pool. I would usually keep it just so that we wouldn't run into it again and hopefully get something else amazing. That's why I would always hesitate to throw this away, even though it's actually worthless, but just to keep it, to not roll into it again. There was something we kept getting that I kept throwing away. That would happen so many times. we just kept getting it. I kept throwing it away, and we kept getting it. Oh yeah, the rousing recorder. Again, when I have no other good trinkets, yes, welcome addition. Put it on someone. Give me random tokens. Less debuff resist is meaningless. I don't care about that. That's fine. But I would, when I have good shit, this is fucking worthless. So I kept throwing it away, and I kept getting it back. So that's why there's an argument to be made. You can't have more than one of the same trinket. So there's an argument to be made to, stop the pool from diluting the pool. You keep this, so then hopefully you don't run into this again, and it gives you another good trinket. That's the main reason to keep shit trinkets. If you've got the room for it, don't throw them away, because, you might just run into them again. Really wanted to use the oversprung pocket watch, but in that particular run, must have been Act 3 or Act 5, there was just no one to utilize it very well. But again, this has potential, obviously, to be great. If you get stunned, doesn't fucking matter. You could probably just give yourself a lot of the clarifying poultice anyway, and then you won't get stunned, so it just won't do anything. And when it does do something, half the time it's giving you a second turn, which is, had the potential, if we didn't have any other good trinkets, to be insane. Give it to Aldridge. You can just fucking pick people twice, or flashing daggers people twice. The main allure is, obviously with Plague Doctor. Cool. You can now fucking Noxious Blast twice. Didn't like dealing 21 to like 45 damage in one turn? Great. You have a second turn to do even more damage. You could even make an argument for cause of death in that case. And you get stunned? So what? Doesn't matter. Your damage is going through. The reason that is, I would only be using on a Plague Doctor if you're got good stun resist, is because on your healer, kind of don't want to be fucking around with your healer, because when you need them to heal and they get stunned, that's a really bad sign. So that's fine. And if it's someone slower, then you could use indiscriminate science to get rid of the stun. Theoretically. So there's ways to use it. Didn't think I'd run into the Antiquarian. I don't think in any other attempt I ran into Antiquarians, but this attempt 12 ran into Antiquarian like a lot. So this Celebrated Chalice is actually pretty good. Having speed and crit combined into one thing, it's actually pretty nice. Because obviously this by itself is actually really good. But having some speed on top of it, that was a nice welcome bonus. Plus 4 speed's pretty good. When the Greatest of Wolf Blood is 6 speed, that's not bad. And the condition is not too difficult to get. In terms of things, that's the main thing. So the base items you have unlocked are actually pretty good. We had a lucky thing with this in, I think, Act 2, Act 3, I want to say. I don't remember when we got this, but thanks to Darkly Curious Negative Quirk on our Grave Robber, we were able to get 4 of these. 2 by 2, 8 of these in total. So as in enough for the whole party. And I was like, cool. When I did one experiment to make sure it was working how I intended, you can heal anyone at any point. It's not conditional. It's a percentage heal, and it removes. Like, this is amazing. So, I'll have to make more notes about the academic studies, because they have really good potential when you have Darkly Curious. They really give you a lot. The academic studies are always really, really good to give you weird power boosts in different ways, like having having that weird thing that was in Darkest Dungeon 1. This thing. Like, I also love... This item is very nice, don't get me wrong, it's very, very nice. You give it to Plague Doctor, she can blight even more with this, with the right trinkets and favorite toy memory. But I just like, it's a nice, homage to the Darkest Dungeon 1, the Endless update, whatever the farmer, whatever, where Leopard became very good, against the Seeker and all that, really cool. I like that. It's just nice, so that's really good. I never had a chance to use this thingy. What else was really good? Yeah, that was the main thing. Tried to use the Appalling Apron. Found it very difficult to use. On Plague Doctor could be good, but then having her not being able to heal herself very well is rough. because she sometimes will take damage, and you kind of need to heal her, and then having her being less healing, it's a bit rough. And also she would be, you know, actually, honestly, it's not bad because then she'd be having increased healing as well, but and then her having dots removed is actually pretty good, but she never gets dots thanks to the alchemist pathway anyway. So it wouldn't have been useful. Plus on Plague Doctor, you're always having the right trinkets on her, so there just wasn't many times I used this. I only used it because I didn't have anything else. So, well, it's good in theory, but I think the drawback of negative healing you receive from skills when this composition is bad. If you had other less healing centric compositions, obviously this becomes amazing. So don't get me wrong, it is a good trinket, but just not in this comp. This, obviously, the Spike Skull Pack, amazing, great crit rate chance for Grave Robber to really capitalize on. And that bleeding really does stick quite well, actually, when the enemies get hit. So like that's actually quite good. And then obviously having the bleed and the whatever resistances were nice. The book was pretty cool, used it rarely. And then the trophy, this trophy was actually quite good with speed. Sometimes I wouldn't have the speed to use it, but when I did, especially in the last act, oh boy, that was really good. And then normally, this is the one I normally like. So I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they've reworked this when I was first playing, because I remember this. Don't remember this, so I can't remember what this used to be. I can always look at my VODs and I can see, since the game is changing way too quickly, the wiki is not, unfortunately, not really tracking the changes, which is a shame. I think the Darkest Dungeon community is a bit alienated because DD2 is just so damn different from DD1, just very, very different. For me, it's really good, but like, you know what? I wasn't a huge fan of DD1. I really liked it, but you know what? It was really hard, and every run had so much effort put into it that if I lost a character, it was literally so much effort gone. And that was just too much for me. So, you know what? I can appreciate that, you know? Each their own. Anyway.
Memory is the heart that warms the mind.
What else is there to say? We got really good. We did really well with negative quirks. We had some good positive quirks as well. Like, honestly, on Barrett, on Man at Arms, didn't really fucking matter because we don't have range skills. We don't crit thanks to negative crit, so I don't care. Round start, that's really nice actually. Having a chance for him to be able to just have dodge plus, actually pretty good. You could make an argument for locking this in purely for that, but there are better things, honestly. Peacemaker, again, really nice. But we didn't get shit negative quirks. So obviously on any other characters, these would be like terrible. But he doesn't do damage. I don't give a shit about him doing damage. I don't give a shit about him critting because he bloody doesn't crit with bloody anything. And so I don't actually care if he crits or not. It doesn't really bother me. At all. Not at all. And so don't care about that. And then he would always have some other bullshit rotating around. Like, this is actually not very fun. But, it's whatever. And so that was really good. And we had it, and I always kept enough money to go to hospitals if we developed really bad negative quirks. There are some bloody awful negative quirks that you can get, and diseases you can get. So it's really good to have extra money on hand to be able to spend there. But in terms of Plague Doctor, we didn't really get much in terms of negative quirks that were bad. And then we had some nice positive quirks, the Amateur Armor Smith, and this always kept changing. It really didn't matter. But nothing overly good, nothing overly bad. Again, probably should have locked in Evasive. That combat start of dodge is very, very nice and has helped keep her from being less squishy. Didn't really matter. Nice, but that kept changing. Darkly Curious. If you could lock negative quirks, I would lock a Darkly Curious. It sounds very bizarre, but this vicious. There are some really good negative quirks you can get, but this is really good. And then the rest, Pacifist was always something I thought about getting rid of, but it wasn't really that bad. So I was like, I'm not changing my routine to get to a hospital just for this. And then obviously Selfish is not good, but like, who cares? And then our dismiss. So what did we have actually? Holy shit. Round star, he can just loot. What? When did we get that? Oh my god, like, just the stress alone. The other stuff is cool, I guess, but whoa, okay. Man, okay, I don't know how long we had that for, but I would probably lock this in. It's pretty good just to have stress relieving. Peacemaker is nice, and wow, okay, but we had plus 10% positive relationship with him alone with this. What else did we have? That is whatever. Greedy, I don't really know how that works. And then meltdown, nervous, yeah, this is not good. The speed is nice, but the 10% chance of having extra stress is, well, obviously, negated by this. But yeah, look, it's not my favorite. But yeah, like in terms of quirks, nothing overly crazy. Like in attempt 11, we had a breacher man at arms. You couldn't ask for anything better. You had a breacher man at arms. Breacher pushes you to the front rank at the start of the combat. So if you get shuffled, you're always at the front. 2 block plus tokens, 2 taunt tokens, and then 2 something else. I can't remember, but maybe 2 strength tokens, I think. And so that's great on man at arms. Having just the block plus really nice. I remember we had deadly on attempt 11. Really, attempt 11 was the bomb, honestly. Other than having to use the trophy trick with the Crusader trophy, otherwise it was actually a very good run. We had deadly plus 15% critical rate chance locked on for Grave Robber, which is nuts. We had, I think, one of the quirks that you heal 5 health, or you heal 5% at the start of the round. Great on a healer. And just good in general, because hopefully if you're on death's door, that might be enough to bring you off of it. Just a little heal to get off death's door is very, very important. So that's fine with me. So we had some very good things in the previous run, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be. What can I say? What happened? I think. Oh yeah, I honestly could have won attempt 11. I just got greedy with trying to deal damage while regression was happening, like the main mechanic of the boss, and I just got greedy. That's really what it is. But yeah, like we did it. We did super well in terms of working fields again. 2 stagecoach, 1 combat. Didn't have to dilute with any other nonsense. Living City, I was honestly uploading Bounty Hunter as a joke at the end because I just had candles to spare on thing. And also, because I forgot, the sleuths, you just get a lot of negative relationships because everyone argues and whatnot. And having Bounty Hunter would have been good if those opportunities arose and I would have swapped Bounty Hunter in. So we would just not get we would get the benefit of doing sleuths to get a couple of extra bits and bobs, and we would get the benefit of not having negative affinities, ruining our affinities. Negative relationship encounters at each node. And so that was the main idea. So in future, if I were to do this again, I'd probably unlock Bounty Hunter earlier, just to give ourselves that option. Oh, my battery is low. Hang on 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay, where was it? Yeah, so that's what I'd probably do in future, just to really make sure we can go to the sluice, and not be like a dangerous move doing that in terms of affinities. Because having negative relationships can really make things difficult. And so really making sure you're having at least neutral or positive relationships, very, very important. You can definitely get away with that without having positives, but just negatives can be quite damaging in a lot of ways. And so, but this is the basic workout. So really, all I wanted to, again, we were going to unlock the textbook. You know, a bit of a shame, but that's fine. It's not a bad trinkets anyway, so that's okay. We ignore surgeon because we don't care. We get the early experiment, fantastic thing to unlock. So really glad this was early because I really didn't look at what else she has, because I was just trying to get to Alchemist. To spend enough candles after Act 1, you have enough candles to do it, but just to get to Alchemist, and then obviously just a little bit more for that. Could have done more, but again, I just wasn't. This is like worthless. I never use answer prevention. I never use emboldening vapors. Really cool concept, but less heal from battlefield medicine. Like it's just not. It wouldn't be useful. I don't use any of those moves, so it would have diluted my pool. Again, wouldn't use physician. What's physician do? Oh, stun, piercing, and then stress. Oh, interesting. And emboldening vapors would give even more strength token. Okay, it's not a bad thing actually, but honestly, yeah, pretty mediocre. That's pretty mediocre. I can only think of the unusual suspects. I'm sure in another comp you could probably make something. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, cool. So basically, like, it was just really good that she had that early on, so I didn't have to dilute the pool with even more shit. Grave Robber was just to get to Deadeye and then give her the speed. I just thought that was good. And then obviously his rings, like, it's not bad. Purely because of the Dead of the Night giving us extra relics and baubles. I did think about unlocking this because of that, but I was like, oh, the dilution is not worth such a mediocre amount of extra relics and things. But it's still not bad. This is a nice way to just get a little bit more money, because you're definitely using Dead of the Night. So you know, I'm using it normally just for healing and stealth. So yeah, get some money out of it. More crit for pick to the face when it already has quite a high crit rate. You know, that's good. But again, didn't need it. Venom drop was what that Redditor guy was suggesting, but again, I wasn't really particularly interested after realizing that I can do quite well with just a crit alone, and to make flashing daggers a useful skill. And what else? Yeah, this is obviously the Venom drop. Night Swan was also something I thought about to really get Shadow Fade going and then lunging. I really did think about it, but just, you know, it could have worked. But the dilution, I was less of a fan of the dilution. More speed, more of that's cool, and then more crit, you know, not bad, but the amount of candles is just way too much. Same thing, basically with him, I just wanted to get to Rogue, because after figuring out with Rogue, Duelist Advance giving them block tokens, you know, that became very, very good. So I really actually haven't experimented enough. I actually don't know what his other parts for most of these characters would have done, what it actually changes. The wiki and everything is too unreliable, and so, you know, I'd have to just figure it out for myself. So I have the other save where I have everything unlocked. So probably could have looked at that full guidance actually for this version of the game as well. What was this? Yeah, it would have been just bloat. It's worthless to me. Sharpshot used to love this role because of my use of take aim, but pistol shot becoming something you can't use in rank 2, only 3 and 4, wasn't worth the damage increase. It just was. Really tried hard to make it worth. It just became too difficult. Cursed Coin. Once upon a time, this was really good. Cursed Coin is actually still pretty good. Even with Duelist Advantage with Rogue, this would have been quite good. Highway Robbery skill. Oh, you can also steal a healing. So this actually would have been good, but obviously we would have unlocked more garbage, and it's not that good. Yellow hand. Okay, don't really know. And then what was his thing? Oh yeah, his DD1 campfire skill. Yep, gotcha. Man at Arms was mainly to get to nice to get Price of Pride, but to get to Sergeant, because I just really like Sergeant. Everything in this kit I like. Don't care about him doing damage. It is nice when I was using him in Act 1 with Wanderer part. It was nice that my Man at Arms could actually do damage and be somewhat reliable with damage, and that was actually really nice. But all good things have to end and be traded up for, when one door closes, another door opens, Less damage, but the move resist is very nice. The boss skills doesn't come in clutch often, but you know what? It does happen. It is useful sometimes, and that is appreciated. And then each ally resistances has been useful over the run of the game. I haven't really noticed it all the time, but it is nice. I think on Ravenous Reach on Act 4 boss, it did come into clutch, and we never got any bleeds essentially. It was really good actually. So I always welcome that. Again, I like to play protracted battles anyway, so this is just good for that. What else was there? Oh yeah, this was worthless because I don't use any of this shit. So that's fine. So would have been bloat. Don't use that. Not bad actually, because crush and riposte doing less damage. Don't really care. It's 5% less damage than what I'm doing overall. And then hold the line would do way more damage. Shield attacks has more stun piercing. I don't care about stand fast. That doesn't bother me. But you know what? This is actually not bad. So if I were to not use Sergeant, I could see myself very easily using Buuut. This is actually pretty good. Because I'm not using Crush for damage. I'm not using Riposte for damage. I mean, it would be nice. I know it's not happening. But the shield attack, I'm pretty confident hold the line as a shield move. That would be nuts actually. What else is there? More health is pretty cool. Undeserved content. If you're in rank 2, you have so much HP. Whoa, what the hell? Oh, what? That's nuts, okay. Command skills can give that, and then if you're moving, if rank 1, you get more stress. Yeah, okay, I don't really get how to use this, but the dancing, I like the dance. Vanguard, more HP, more damage. Less resistance is a bit annoying from someone like Man at Arms. It's not really that bad. This is actually a good path. You can just do so much damage. Yeah, you don't have to move resist. You don't have the other shit in Sergeant and Buuut. But this is actually good. This is actually really good. More HP, more damage. Oh, but only for Crush and Riposte. Still, it's not bad. Definitely all usable parts. Now, what do you get? If you block shielding someone, they have more damage. Not bad. Not bad, actually. That's actually not bad. But anyway, that's the roster. Going back to then other things, again, only unlock the Orphan Club. At the start, this is a really important upgrade. The repairs are okay. The Hoarder having more relics is nice, but you really don't need. This is the main one you want to get to. So from here, you want to then get to this one. So you just have that at the start, you have more money. It's really, really nice to have lots of money at the start to be able to buy different things, or just hold on to your money to use later. The rest of this were just bonuses I just did because I had candles, but you only need to get up to here. Journey, the inventory slots is like nearly mandatory. These first two upgrades are basically mandatory. Having an extra stagecoach slot, so you have 2 instead of 1, and then inventory is nice. Having more inventory is always welcome. Candles are good. More wheels are nice. And yeah, honestly, Journey, you just kind of just keep upgrading, because this is, up to here is useful. This is then it starts to drop off, but then this is pretty good. And then I think after here, the rest are just mediocre. Like, yes, it's a big jump to get to 2 inventory slots, and then you just keep going, and then you keep going because it's like it is worth putting the candles in for this, but it's obviously a bit of a jump. Now, what do we have left? Skins obviously we don't unlock, and then the fragile flame is so when I'm masochistic clearly, but my masochism is telling me that the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be using after, so prologue into Act 1 to 5 is the full fresh save file Grand Slam. So you're not using any cheese to do whatever. Likely, I will be going for the Fragile Flame in terms of something to unlock to make the challenge more difficult. What I may do is I may also artificially inject 300 and then give myself the Sigyn Blaze, this piece of shit. It's funny because the only thing that's really bad here is the negative positive relationship chance. It's just awful. More flame drain is also not nice. Enemies having death blow, more death blow tokens, it's rough. Champion enemies, so you're gonna see collector, you're gonna see death, you're gonna see these awful things. And then you get more, it's just like in DD1. Low light I assume gives you more. Oh, sorry. Low light probably gives you more stuff. But you have all this other shit. Enemies getting all of this stuff is just rough. Not as bad as the Bastard Speaker. This thing is, everyone being ordained and lair bosses being ordained is rough. I remember playing with this because this is a new thing. This was rough. This was very, very difficult. Confession bosses gain unique buffs. Honestly, I do want to do it just to find out what the hell is that, but I'm obviously deathly afraid of that. Yeah, again, a lot of these are terrifying. Yeah, these are rough. These are very, very rough. But anyway, that's most of this. So that's the composition. So again, the Unusual Suspects just has it all. You have ways to defend your people. You have ways to taunt. You have ways to deshuffle yourself. You have good, excellent stress relief. Good damage dealing, self-reliance, back damage dealing, tech utility, damage dealing, and self-preservation with riposte. Again, even if riposte do no damage, again, it's nice when they do damage, but even when he was doing 1 damage riposte, just to get rid of enemy tokens are nice. And of course, Plague Doctor with mad, consistent, beautiful heals. Another nice dot removing heal, and then insane dot damage. You have it all. There's as proven by me constantly using this, but there's nothing this team cannot do. And this team has just done a fresh save file Grand Slam from prologue to Acts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this team can do anything. And I'm firmly of that opinion. I've done it, for fuck's sake, so I trust myself. Oh man, but I have seriously enjoyed this game. This has been a very, very fun challenge. Highly recommend if you're kind of bored with the game, maybe you've done more than me. Maybe you've done the Stygian Flames or the Bastard Speaker's Flame and you're feeling good. Do this challenge. Let me tell you, this challenge is definitely tough, but And I still have improvements to be made. I still need to be able to do this without any DD checks, because we had a DD check in Act 3 with the focus fault, many of them. I think we didn't have any other DD checks. Don't think so. I can't quite remember. No, I think we had maybe one or two elsewhere. So it wasn't perfect. This run can be improved. But you know what? I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. This has gone quite well. Act 3 is always usually quite a crapshoot, especially when you have no noisemakers. It becomes even more difficult. And so things can shuffle that way. And so yeah, it is what it is. But you know what? We did good. Amazingly, such little altar progress, which is actually quite surprising, honestly. I thought we unlocked quite a bit. Oh, no, we did it. No, right, of course, we purposely did it. Right, never mind. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. But yeah, we did it. And here, look, boom. 6 expeditions, prologue, X1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And where's the achievement for the save file? Boom, grand slam. No one died. Everyone got to live. You know what? We fucking did it. Okay, they got for the DLC characters. What else is actually here? That the game of the anniversary of release. Oh, interesting. Oh, there's our collector guy. And then there's death. So these are the champion guys that we'll come across. Right, we did have an opportunity to go fight a Shambler, but I thought it was wise. I think at that moment it was a bit early in that, whatever run that was. So I thought it was a good idea not to, destroy the whole run from that. Okay. This sounds like duelist stuff. Again, it was very good. I stopped trying to hat trick with this because I thought, let's make it even harder and hat trick. I'm really not sure it's possible to do this and hat trick every single time. Because the main problem is in Acts 1 and 2, that becomes very difficult. You have less options, less things you have access to. Even in later acts, in early runs, you don't have stuff unlocked. Your team is not ready to do things safely. You can do it, but you'll probably be really dangerously dead. So again, not surprised it didn't hat trick in this attempt. Already pretty happy I got to do what I got to do. Yeah, sure, that's fine. We did the thing. I'm just happy. This save file is, this is a keeper. And with that, I think I have rambled plenty. So I'm going to say, I don't know who on earth any of you people are. If anyone is watching at all, I'm sure there's no one, but whatever. I'm just glad that this is done and I got to do it. And I didn't have to use the DLC trophy for it, alright? Pure legit. Using the beating lair bosses and doing it for Acts 2, 3, 4, and 5. Obviously you don't need Act 1. So you know what? I did my shit.